Well, would you look at that? Donald Trump makes his return to X here, posting his mugshot. We can see his mugshot going viral last night. He turned himself in at around 7:30, and that mugshot image came out at around 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we were all waiting. When would Trump go back to Twitter? I had talked about it. There were rumors that the non-compete had ended with Truth Social in June, and he was just waiting for a big moment. Well, here it is, election interference. You know, if I was Trump, I really would have considered smiling for something like this, just to give one giant middle finger to the justice system. He didn't. He looks very pissed off in the image. And of course, before the mugshot leaked, there were about 5 million different fake mugshots that were going around. I mean, Trump's mugshot was trending on Twitter all day yesterday, and this is exactly what they wanted. This is why they spent the millions of dollars. This is why they went through the ridiculous charade of taking mugshots of all the attorneys the day before and Rudy Giuliani. They don't care about any of those people. They care about getting Trump and the mugshot plastered all over the internet. And I have to say, the worst part of it all is this, in part, is working, because I have heard several people say that they don't know if they can vote for Trump anymore. It's getting too much. The idea, and right now the strategy, the political strategy from the Democratic Party is clearly to beat this to death. Trump criminal. Trump faces 600 years in jail. Trump hates democracy. Trump tried to overturn the election. January 6th was a terrorist event orchestrated by Donald Trump. It's all there, and it's over and over and over and over again. This reminds you of something, the entire Russian hoax, the Russian conspiracy theory that they pushed back right after the election in 2016 all the way through 2018, and it completely mired Trump's first term in office and really brought down his approval rating. Of course, it was a completely unfounded conspiracy theory. Notice how CNN and MSNBC never called that Russia collusion a conspiracy theory. That's because whenever they use the term conspiracy theory, it's meant to degrade people and put people down if they think that, oh my goodness, the government might not be telling us the truth. Who would have thought? No, that can't happen. No. The government just wants what's best for us. They have to arrest this horrible criminal Donald Trump. But really, why is this happening? Well, Trump's on the wrong side. All right, Trump is anti-establishment, and the entire Republican base at this point, or I wouldn't say the entire Republican base, but a good 60% of it is clearly anti-establishment. If the shoe was on the other foot, Hunter Biden would be in jail, no questions asked, and Joe Biden would have been impeached by now. But of course, Biden is part of the establishment. He was Obama's vice president for 8 years. He is a pure, thoroughbred career politician. You want to talk about the amount of public service, the amount of time he's been involved in politics? Yeah, no, I'm sure he's thinking clearly. It's just an 80-year-old dude who believes a bunch of woke shit, and that's totally believable. It's all such a joke. But let's get to the whole Republican debate, because you had the dueling, debate versus the Trump and Tucker Carlson interview. I guess I'll touch on the Trump-Tucker thing. The first thing I want to clear up for everyone, number one, there were a lot of MAGA people who, they just don't know how to read Twitter's interface. So if you look at the bottom left where it says the time, 8:55, they did that on purpose, 5 minutes before the debate. That's a good move. I like that from Tucker Carlson. But you can see it has the time, the date, and then the interactions. So, Elon Musk, in putting views on tweets, he made it very confusing. So people interpret that. You see 179 million views. And by the way, I took this screenshot maybe like a day ago, so it's probably way more than it is now. And there were a lot of MAGA people who thought that, oh my goodness, it's already up to 179 million views. That's not how it works. That's not how they track or count views over the internet. To be considered a view on YouTube, you need to click on a video and at least watch it for 10 seconds. So you could technically click on my videos and click off in 3 or 4 seconds, and it doesn't count as a view. So when that you look at that number and it says 179 million, that is just the interactions. That is not an actual raw view like you would see counted on YouTube. They do have a view tracker. It's located right under, you can see the interview time in the bottom left corner, 46 minutes and 7 seconds. Under that, that is a more accurate number, 11.1 million views, which is still a ton, and you would expect it to be a ton. It's Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump, and they're doing this to rival the debate. And honestly, I kind of feel bad for Tucker Carlson, watching some of this. I'll be honest, I did watch the debate and then I watched this, or like I watched the first 5 minutes of this and then I switched to the debate because I just think debates are way more fascinating than interviews. But in watching this, I don't think Trump gave Tucker his A game. It seemed like Trump was a little disinterested. Tucker gave him like a Epstein question to try and steal some of the views if Trump comes out and says something big about it, but he really sidestepped it. And I know they were like, oh, he made fun of Kamala Harris. It's funny, but it seems like everyone does that now. I don't know. I just think, and it was it is what it is, I guess, but I like Tucker, and that kind of saddened me. It seemed like Trump was really just low energy in the interview, and if Trump does get on Rogan, he needs to bring his A game. That cannot be what he sounds like. I know all the MAGA people are going to swing it like, oh, it was a good interview. I really didn't think it was a good interview. There was really nothing earth-shattering about it. It was just kind of rivaling the debate, and that obviously if it's Trump and Tucker, it's going to get a ton of views on Twitter. So that is what it is. But when it comes to the debate, I would say the ultimate winner, a lot of it depends on your viewpoints for sure, but it's very clear there was one pure anti-establishment person up there, and that's Vivek. And I've been talking about Vivek. I did my first video on him back in March, and in that video, I believe I said he's going to do great in the debates. So this is really no surprise to me. I think Vivek, pretty much no matter what, as long as he was kind of the center attention, he was going to win. Because if you've been watching my videos, we all know who Vivek is, but let's be honest, the general public, they don't know this guy. So he really introduced himself to a lot of people, and that's just a win in and of itself, getting to the middle of the stage and being the center of the talk. People saying, well, why did, he get the most questions? Why did he take the most heat? Because he's the only anti-establishment person. So obviously there's going to be big disagreements across the board. I will say Nikki Haley was pretty impressive. She showed that she's a fighter. There was some nuance to what she was saying. I didn't love all of it, but Nikki Haley, you have to, show some respect. She did a good job. Ron DeSantis, Ron is just such a disappointment to me. I thought Ron came out completely scripted. Every word he said, it was completely scripted. He said he wanted to put Biden back in the basement about 7 times. If you say it once, okay, but after that, it becomes cringy, and you could tell right at the start of it, he was literally screaming. It was almost like he was mad. And then after the first break, and after he met with his advisors, after, going out there for 20 or 30 minutes, they probably told him, listen, you need to calm it down. And then after the first break, you could tell that DeSantis was a lot more calm. There were some people that liked DeSantis. There were some people that said he didn't do enough. I think the general consensus is he performed okay. In terms of talk time, it is crazy that you would tell me, think about this. Back in February, when DeSantis was tied with Trump almost, if you were to tell me the first debate, Trump doesn't even attend it, and DeSantis, in terms of talk time, is 4th. I believe DeSantis was 4th behind Mike Pence, Ramaswamy, and Chris Christie. Chris Christie had more talk time than DeSantis. That's just not good. And just nobody challenged him, and that's a big problem. You got to get your name out there. You got to talk. So that's a big issue. I thought Chris Christie was... let's understand something. The only reason Chris Christie is there is to annoy Trump. So if Trump doesn't show up, that's really going to take the wind out of his sails. People said they were disappointed in Christie. Christie is only there because of Trump, and Trump wasn't there. So obviously, there's not much for him to say. He went at Ramaswamy. They went back and forth. I guess it's fun, whatever. Mike Pence actually talked the most out of everyone. Yeah, there's just no way Mike Pence is going to do much of anything. A lot of what he believes, like even the big abortion thing, and I'm not going to make this video about abortion because I do think, it's a very complicated issue, but the problem for Mike Pence is that abortion, that is not a popular topic that you can run on. Being pro-life is not something you can run on in America in 2023, unfortunately. And that's like his big thing. I thought Tim Scott, in terms of I was looking to see who was going to do better, Nikki Haley or Tim Scott. I thought Nikki Haley was way better than Tim Scott. Tim Scott probably has one more debate in him, and then he's going to drop out of the race. So when it comes to the next debate, which is September 27th, I believe. That's a day before my birthday, September 27th. I think Asa Hutchinson is going to drop out. There's no way donors are going to continue to support him. He has no chance. Doug Burgum is going to drop out. You know, he has a decent message. He just can't portray it correctly. And you would think, we'll have to see what happens with Christie, but I would imagine if it comes out that Trump is probably not going to do the next debate, which I don't think he will, because remember, when it comes to Trump debating, if you want to get on that debate stage, the RNC has said, listen, you need to declare that whoever is the nominee you will support and you will not run against them. The reason Trump's not going to agree to that is in the event if the Republican Party somehow disqualifies Trump due to his legal situation and his legal problems, he would not be able to run as an independent. So maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe Trump will never run as an independent if something happens with his legal situation, but I don't know. I think the only way Trump is at the debate in September is if he falls significantly in the polls. And right now, at least, we haven't seen that. So I would expect DeSantis, Ramaswamy, Tim Scott will probably be at the next one, Nikki Haley for sure, maybe Pence, but Christie, maybe he'll be there. And then you can see, considering voting for each candidate among Republicans who watched the debate, DeSantis gained 5, Trump lost 5. But what is this? No, I don't think this poll is correct. I guess it says considering, but why would DeSantis be at 68 and Trump's at 61? I think that's a dumb worded question then, yeah. But you could see Nikki Haley plus 17, Ramaswamy plus 5, but the thing with Ramaswamy, according to all the Google trends, he was number 1 in terms of people Googling him, wanting to know more about him. That's inevitably going to help him out in Iowa, just with people learning more and more about him. So I do think Ramaswamy is the big winner. I had said over and over again, the dude's ridiculously smart. He's going to be good in a debate. My expectations were so high for Ramaswamy, I was actually slightly disappointed. I know he can do better than that. And I do think he'll do even better at the next debate, because if Trump's not there, he can just completely take it over. I would expect DeSantis to talk a lot more at the next debate as well. You can see even Tim Scott going up too. Tim Scott just didn't get in any arguments. You can say that's a good thing. You can say it's a bad thing, but it's just very cookie cutter conservative type stuff from him. And then Mike Pence, who talked the most, you can see plus 3. Mike Pence just has no chance. He was actually going at Vivek. I thought that was pretty funny to see those two get in an argument. But that is kind of that situation when it comes to the Republican debate. But that is the latest update. I was waiting for the Trump mugshot to be released. I was going to do a video right after it. And then, of course, it gets released at like 9:30 at night. It's just so annoying. Just release it at noon. I would have done a video like the second it got released. But yeah, Trump, he looks very angry in the mugshot. I'm sure this is what they wanted. They wanted it plastered everywhere. Remember, it's sheer force. The independent people. See, I actually think people are starting to underestimate, and this won't be a popular opinion, but there is still a significant effect that mainstream media has on the average everyday American. If you're looking on whatever, if you're like a 40-year-old just middle-aged person and you have a job and you're just looking at the updates, Trump arrested, Trump jailed, Trump this, Trump's a threat, Trump, 99% coverage on Trump, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden get 1%. Now it's probably 0% with all of this. And obviously the Trump people are just going to support him even more, but you already have the Trump people on your side. If you're trying to win an election, you have to get the independents over. So it's going to be very hard, and it's a sheer force maneuver that they're doing against him, a full-scale attack. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.